Hey, this is Dawud from dmiracle.com, and I'm going to spend a few minutes and talk about Google Reader and RSS feeds. Now, I'm not going to go into how to use Google Reader in some in-depth detail, and I'm not going to talk about RSS in some in-depth detail. What I want to do instead is use this video as an opportunity to show you really why you want to know about and use RSS feeds and how you can use them in Google Reader. So this is going to be really simple, really straightforward, and meant really for the most beginner. So let's jump in. We're going to first talk a little bit about Google Reader and what it is. Then we're going to talk about feeds and what they are. And then we're going to talk about how they work together. So let's start with Google Reader. So just know that to use feeds, you probably want to be using Google Reader. And there's a bunch of reasons why I won't get into. You can search the internet to find out why. I just want to show you how to get feeds into Google Reader. So first, of course, you have to start by having a Google Reader account. Now, Google Reader is a free piece of software that's hosted by Google. All you have to do is have a Google account. So if you have a Gmail account or you're using Google Analytics or FeedBurner or any of those other Google, Google Docs, any of those things, you already have a Google account. So all you need to do is go to google.com/reader, and you'll be able to get a Google Reader account just added to your already existing Google account. Now, if you don't have a Google account, if you're not using Gmail or the other things I mentioned, then just go to google.com/reader, and you'll be able to use this create an account button, and you'll go through a process of creating an account. It only takes a couple of minutes. You have to verify your email address, and that's basically it. And once you have a Google account, you can use Google Reader. So know that what we're going to talk about here is Google Reader is really the platform where we're going to access and engage RSS feeds. Now, let's talk a little bit about what RSS is. So you've probably seen this symbol before. Forget about the background. I don't really even know who menukarma.com is. And I certainly don't promote them because I don't know who they are. But you do know this big orange button. You've seen this in tons and tons and tons of websites. This relates directly to an RSS feed. Let's talk about what an RSS feed is for a second. So what the feed is if you think for a second about using your website or using websites in general, you tend to go out to websites to get information, to get news stories, to do Google searches, to find out what people are saying about you maybe on the internet or about your business, or you're going out to other websites where you like the copy. Maybe you read Copyblogger like a lot of people do, or a number of any other websites where there's a regular amount of content that's being published, and you go out to those websites to read them when you think about them, when you have the opportunity, when you have the chance. And what often happens is that you don't get to the sites as often as you like. You miss maybe some really important content, or you're bogged down with all the time it takes to remember to go look at those websites, which again just kind of gets in the way. So what a feed does is a feed allows you not to have to go out and look at, say, 10 websites worth of content each time you think about doing that. It allows instead for you to go to one place, in this case, Google Reader, to go to one place and have all that content from those websites delivered to you. So just stop and think about that for 1 second. You can have content delivered to you from 5, 20, 500 websites if you want. So it's a chance for you to be able to bring the content to you and look at it the way you want to look at it. And that's what Google Reader is about, and that's what feeds are about. So we talked about this orange button. And we're going to start with my website here, dmiracle.com. And probably by the time you see this, my site may be redesigned. So I'm in the process of that right now. But you'll notice here, we have the little orange icon that I showed you a moment ago. And we talk about following me by RSS. So if I click on this, what will happen is often you go to a page that looks like this. Now, this is a FeedBurner page. You don't have to worry about what FeedBurner is. All you have to do is find the little Google Plus box. That's all you have to do. So we're going to click on that. And we're going to come to a screen, and this is where Google now allows us to choose. If we're using the Google homepage, do we want this content that's from dmiracle.com to show up on our Google homepage, or do we want to use Google Reader? Well, we're not talking about the homepage, so just forget that for a second. We're talking about Google Reader. So we're going to add the feed from dmiracle.com, from my own website, to Google Reader. Let's do that. And Actually, I already have my feed in Google Reader, so that might not have been the best example. But what happens is we've now opened Google Reader. You see here, we're in Google Reader, and we're not going to worry about what any of this stuff is. We can talk about this stuff another time. All I want to do is show you how to get feeds inside Google Reader. And let's go ahead and click on Home, and you can see what this looks like. So just so you see, here's some sites that I'm getting content from. I get content from Freelance Switch. I get content from Seth Godin's blog. I get content from my friend Chris Brogan's blog. And this content's being delivered into me so that I don't have to go look at Chris's website or Seth's website or Freelance Switch. I just simply come here and I can read the news that's coming into me. And you can see things like how many items are new in the queue, and there's lots of other things you can do. But that's primarily what we're talking about here, is getting feeds into Google Reader so that you can come to one place and follow content. And let's look at a couple of sites I follow and like, and what their feed buttons look like, because often they're different. They're not just necessarily that orange button. So here, my friends, Jane, my friends here at Men with Pens, they just use this guitar-looking pick thing, subscribe for the RSS. But you'll see if we click on it, we really go into the same process. Here we can add our Google button. Let's just add them real quick. Go through this process one more time, and you'll see here we have menswithpens.ca, their feed, and here's all the content most recently that they've written. And we're not going to get to why content gets shown. All that stuff's irrelevant right now. Just know here's stuff that I may not have seen on their website. And by the way, each time that James or his partners at Men with Pens write, their content's going to be delivered here for me to look at. So let's just take this, and we'll see that here is really all the content that they wrote in that blog post about business lessons from equestrians. So this is how it works. So let's close that, and let's come here. Just want to show you a few other examples so you know what to look for. Again, there's our little orange button. You see sometimes it's larger, sometimes it's smaller. If we look at TwitTip, we'll see again it looks a little different, but it's still kind of that same little, that same little icon looking thing, which you're going to see consistent. Sometimes it's not orange, sometimes it's a different color, like on Studio Press. So in all, what you want to do is you want to get these feeds into your feed reader. So if you find that you like my site, for instance, grab my feed and use Google Reader to keep up on the content that I write. And do this with anybody whose content that you like. And the great thing about your feed is that you can always unsubscribe. You can always choose to watch a feed for a little while and then unsubscribe from it, and all that content just goes away. It doesn't get in your way anymore. I do that a lot, where I find a new site that I like, and I'll follow it for a little while, see if I like any of the content over a course of a few weeks or a month, and then if I don't, I'll just unsubscribe from it. It's really, really simple. And by the way, when you subscribe, you're not giving anything away. You're not giving an email address, though that is possible to do. But in most cases, if you're using Google Reader, you're not giving away an email address. So nobody even really knows that you subscribe to them, other than the fact that they can find out how many people are subscribed to them. So I want to look at a couple other ways that we can use the reader effectively, because this is important. We've looked at how we can get website content into our reader. Let's look now at what we might do with search. So a lot of my clients, I talk about blogsearch.google.com, and here we just see blogsearch.google.com, and this is Google's search engine just for searching blogs. So let's search for my name, and I'm going to search blogs here, and we're going to see what comes up. So here's what comes up in results. Now I really want to know from Google what content is showing up that relates to me. So what are people out on the internet saying about Dawud Miracle, or about my business, or about my services? So I'm going to click the RSS link that's on here. You'll see there's a subscribe option, and I'm going to click RSS. Now this is where it might get a little confusing. What we do here is, this doesn't look like the screen I showed you a minute ago. This is actually the code that makes up RSS. So let's just come up here, and we're going to copy the entire URL line. So we might come here. We're going to right click on our PC. We're going to control click on our Mac, and let's just hit copy. And then what we do is we go back to our Google Reader, and we find this add subscription button, which is right under the Google Reader logo. We click add subscription, and we're going to add the entire feed. Everything I just pulled from that URL, as you see there, is the same here. So we're just going to put that in there. We're going to add it. And when we add it, you'll see that the same content, 4 simple questions, you only live once, what keeps your business, it's the same stuff that we see here in the Google results. Again, boom, boom, boom. That's a little different. Why it's different, I'm not sure. It must have something to do with Google in general. But Either way, the point here is you can now take searches not only on yourself or your business, but let's say that you're a life coach and you just want to see what people are writing about life coaching. So you can take the term life coach or whatever other term you might use to search for, click on RSS, and you can follow the search results of blog content based on those keywords. So you could find out what interesting blog content's going on out there on the internet without always having to go to Google. You can do this. I do this on about seven to eight terms. I do this with key phrases, and they're pertinent to my business. And so all I have to do is log into my Google Reader account, and I can go boom, 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 boom through all 8 searches, see if there's anything interesting in there. It saves a massive amount of time when I want to do research on what's being talked about in my field. So just to make this clear, you want to take keyword searches that are pertinent to your business, follow the RSS feeds in Google Reader, and then you're able to track search results in blog content as it's published. And then you can use that to go out and leave comments on blogs or just see what people are talking about in the industry, find content that you want to blog about, so on and so forth. All the things you do with a little bit of keyword research in your business. So the final thing I want to talk about is using RSS with Twitter, because this is also really powerful. And there's a couple things you can search for. Of course, you can search for, let's see this, I haven't been on Twitter in a few weeks. Let's see what comes up if I just search my name in Twitter. There's no results because nobody talks about me that way. But they do talk about me this way. There, so there we are. So here's it's basically my Twitter ID, and you'll see that here's responses from my relationship to Twitter, yada yada. Again, we have an RSS feed from these search results. So I can take these feed results. Actually, in this case, sorry, we're going to want to right-click on our mouse on the PC, or control-click on the Mac, and this little option will come up. It'll look a little different depending on your browser, but there'll be some option here to copy the link. So we're going to copy the link. We're going to go back to Google Reader. We're going to add subscribe. And again, we're going to see the same Twitter search URL. And all we're going to do here is add it. And we're going to wait. And now we'll see all the items in Twitter where my name is mentioned, or in this case, my Twitter ID is mentioned. So it's a way for me to also track what's happening in Twitter around, again, my business, my brand, and all the keywords that I'm most interested in. So let's say I'm interested in WordPress design. And I want to find out what's being said on Twitter. And so here's all the places where WordPress and design are put together, and I want to see what people are talking about. Again, I can do the same thing, copy the link, go back to Google Reader, add a subscription, paste the URL, click add, and here we're seeing that I'm going to get the search results that have to deal with Google design. And again, this is a way for me to track Twitter from within Google Reader. So the power here, remember, of Google Reader is that I can track all of this content from within one space. I can know where the content came from, and it's really easy to go through and mark these items red. So we just click this, and this is all that's happening, is I'm just being able here to look at the content that's in Google Reader. So each time I click one of these, they're red. So this is the power. The power in this is the ability to go to one place and follow search results, Twitter results, and content on the internet that interests you and applies to your business. So this is using Google Reader and RSS with Dawud Miracle from dmiracle.com. And if there's any way that I can help you out, please let me know. Visit me at www.dmiracle.com. Thanks.